It is week 6 of the high school football season. I'm Fox23's sports director Nathan Thompson, along with Tulsa World sports editor Barry Lewis, flying through this season as we are in week 6. And we're going to talk about the top 5 games, which is your column in the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World and also on OKPrepsExtra.com. So let's start with number 1 in this interesting week of kind of a hard week to pick a top 5. But number 1, this is a nice matchup here as you have Jenks on the road at Mustang.
Yeah, you'll just have to go 100 miles to go. If you're in the Tulsa area, you'll just have to go 100 miles to see that matchup. But yes, the last time Jenks was at Mustang, what a game that was back in the 2022 quarterfinals. Jenks is down 19 in the fourth quarter and winds up winning. Yeah. So what a crazy game that was. And this is a chance to be another crazy down-to-the-wire game that comes down to a field goal. Mustang's last 2 games have come down to a field goal. Missed 1 week, made last week. They're 4-1. Jenks is 2-3. But Jenks' record's a little deceptive. They played the best competition around. Their losses have been against the best. And a really nice win last week against Norman, which was ranked number 5. And I think last week was the first time we saw the real Jenks offense. And it was quite impressive as Caleb Barnett, and for the first time since coming over from Broken Arrow, really showed what he could do and that Jenks offense can do with him as he caught 2 touchdown passes. And so I think the potential on the Jenks offense hasn't been close to being realized yet, but that was like a big step forward for the Trojans. So, and I think that progress will continue on Friday night at Mustang.
And then game number 2 on your list, we go down to Class 4A in District 3. Number 1, Wagner. The Bulldogs have been blowing out everyone they faced, basically. On the road at Catoosa. Catoosa's had a solid season so far.
Yes, Catoosa. This is probably going to be Catoosa's best season since 2018. They only lost by 17 to Wagner that year. Usually Wagner just blows them out, as they blow out most teams. And Wagner's closest game this year has been 29 points. Catoosa, very impressive. They gave Grove, which is ranked 5th, a great game 2 weeks ago. So I think from a Catoosa standpoint, you build off of that, because if you can give Grove a great battle, why not Wagner?
Yeah.
I think Wagner's a little better than Grove, but still, that's got to be something that gives you confidence going into a matchup like this.
And then game number 3, we go to Class A2 in District 4. And what a matchup we have here is we have number 2 Hominy on the road at number 1 Woodland.
Yes. Hey, these number 1 versus number 2 matchups are always fun, aren't they? And last year they played a number 1 versus number 2 type of game that came down to the last seconds that Woodland led, but then Hominy won it with a touchdown in the last minute, 23-20. So Woodland's looking for revenge on that. These 2 teams have played some great games in the last few years, and this has the potential for another, although I think Woodland is probably a bit better than it was last year. I was really impressed when I went and saw Woodland play a few weeks ago, and Hominy's they had some graduation losses, probably not quite as good as they were last year, but still, when it's 1 versus 2, it's always special.
All right, and then game number 4. This is a Thursday night game, but it's a nice one in Class 5A District 3 as we have Bishop Kelly on the road at Booker T. And the Hornets have been looking good in the first season under new head coach Dan Bitson.
Yes. Both teams had some tough early part of the schedule, some tough opponents, but that just makes you better for district play. And both teams have looked really good once the district season has started. And the winner of this game looks like will have a clear shot at McAllister for the district title. So that makes this very intriguing. These teams had a pretty good rivalry going in the early years of this century, and for about 10 or 12 years. Then Booker T went up to 6A2. Now they're back in the same district, and so should be a fun game Thursday night at S.E. Williams Stadium. A few more Thursday night games this week than normal.
All right, and rounding out the top 5, we go to Class 4A again, Grove at Fort Gibson.
Grove is 5-0, Fort Gibson 4-1. Fort Gibson is coming off an exhilarating victory last week. They scored a last-minute touchdown to beat upset-minded Oologah. This just has all the potential to be a game that goes down to the wire. These teams have played some close games, have won some close games for the most part. And I think it'll be a very interesting night Friday.
All right. That's the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World. If you want to buy it, one right there. We have those top 5 games and then 14 other games, including what is the Fox 23 game of the week, as we have undefeated Claremore on the road at Pryor. So Friday night, Spencer Tillis will be live at 6 from Pryor, previewing that game, and we'll have highlights after college football Friday night. So make sure you do that, or go to fox23.com. On the sports page, you click on that icon right there, the High School Football Tonight icon, to see all of our highlights. And of course, the Tulsa World, pick one up all week, especially on Saturday, to get all the game recaps and scores and the great picture from the Tulsa World photography staff. And they have a great website for high school football, okprepsextra.com. So make sure you check that out and make sure you have a great week.